And what we're talking about today to begin our series on spiritual wisdom and how to follow it is, how does God know what I'm doing? Have you ever wondered about that? Have you ever thought about it? How does God know what I'm doing? Well, this is one of the short essays that Ernest Holmes wrote, and we find it in Living the Science of Mind. So the suggested perspective for today is, how can God not know what I'm doing? Think about this. I am a perfect, whole, and complete manifestation of God. Pure spirit moves in, through, and it moves as my very being. When I am conscious of my divinity and when I'm conscious of your divinity, I am God experiencing God. That's the perspective that we want to have around this talk for today. Now, what is spiritual wisdom? Well, let's start out with, what is wisdom? What do you think wisdom is? Anyone? What do you think wisdom is? What is your definition of it?
Knowledge.
Knowledge. Anything else? How do you get knowledge? How do we get knowledge?
From God.
All right, we get knowledge from God. Did you get that knowledge when you were in the first grade of school?
Yeah.
You got that from
When I
God?
was born.
Okay, God taught you how to do multiplication in school. Okay, all right. Well, the point that I'm getting to is that yes, we do get knowledge from the infinite spirit of life. We also get knowledge from the teachers that we have around us. Ernest Holmes says that when you know your subject matter and you're able to explain it, then the people who are hearing you will be able to get that same knowledge. That is the role of a teacher. Basically, it's to our advantage to teach that which we know. This is why many speakers are able to speak with such ease, because they know their subject matter. We tell people in Toastmasters, nobody knows your story better than you. So there isn't anyone sitting in the audience who could say, oh, not so. They haven't had your experience. So what comes along with knowledge is also experience. Now, there are some of us who are very open-minded, and we are ready to be like a sponge and to absorb the knowledge that we're getting from our teachers in school. And sometimes we are sponges and we absorb the knowledge that we get from the grown-ups in our lives. You know, they said, don't do this. We said, why? And they tell us why. And we're like, well, okay, and we don't do it. But there are other times when it's like, oh, no, I don't believe that. I got to try for myself. So what do? We go out and we have an experience. And it is from what happens in that experience that we gain additional knowledge. Knowledge plus experience equals wisdom. That's part of wisdom, but I don't think it's the total part. There's another part that comes along with that, and it's called judgment. Good judgment. Can you judge what's going on here? And the way some of us do that judging is that after we've had an experience, we do an evaluation of, oh my goodness, what happened here? So we think about what was going on there, and we make a decision from within. Oh boy, I'll never do that again. Or, I know if this happens again, I know how I will respond to it. I won't respond in that way that I did this first time. I will respond differently. So here it is, the infinite law of life is responding to the action that we took in each situation. So we add to our knowledge, We add to our experience that element of evaluation and judgment such that we make better decisions, and with that better decision, there is wisdom, but that's not all of it. There's something else I believe that goes along with it, and it comes from the book of wisdom from the Bible. It's Proverbs, and I believe it says, in all of your getting, get wisdom, but in all of your getting, get an understanding. Get an understanding. Get an understanding actually means, all right, so you've done an evaluation of what has happened, so let's begin to judge which way you want to handle this. Now, when it presents itself, and it may not be your life, but it could be someone's life that you are involved in, you may want to understand what are the dynamics that go along with what has been happening here. You want to understand what needs to come about. You want to understand how can I support them in what needs to happen. Once again, it's the creative mind of the universe that responds to our action as well as our reaction. So, when we are dealing with this thing called wisdom and we want to act from it, all of those little elements come into it. Knowledge, experience, judgment, and an understanding. An understanding. Another way of looking at understanding is when a situation has occurred that is so common to youth. Because you know one youth and his behavior, his personalities, and you see another youth do the same thing, you may respond to them differently because you understand who they are and the dynamic that was going on there. This is when we get rid of the thought, oh, one size fits all. I have found in my life the only place where one size fits all is there's only one God. There's only one power. There's only one presence. There's only one life. And that is the infinite spirit of life. Dr. Holmes will tell you that in his research before the development of religious science, this philosophy of religious science, he studied the ancient wisdom. And we will call that spiritual wisdom. He studied ancient wisdom. He studied the ancient Hinduism. He studied the teachings of Moses. He studied the Hermetics. He studied the works of Jesus and practically anybody else, Buddhism, anything else he could get his hands on that dealt with our spiritual traditions, philosophies, and teachings. And he found the common denominator in all of them. All are saying the same things. That which Jesus shared with us, Moses had already said. That which Moses had said, others had said it before him. So, what is it? There's only one God. There's only one life. There's only one power. That power, it's it. And someone came along and decided to give it a name, and it was named God. And McCurtis Hopkins says, I'm going to call God good. So many people have given God a different name, but they understand what it means. It's that it. It is that life that is surrounding us. It's that divine presence that is right here with us. So we ask the question, how does God know what I'm doing? God is everything, the infinite creator. God is in and through everything. Ernest Holmes said, how does God know if you are in peace? God knows that you're in peace because you are displaying peace. How does God know that you are in love? Because you will be displaying that energetic of love to one special person or love to others in whatever degree it is. God knows, because God is everything. Everything. Now, this is where I love to go off on a tangent where we call ourselves testing the infinite spirit of life. Well, how does God know if I'm pissed off? God knows that you're not displaying peace, contentment, love, satisfaction. Just as God knows that you are displaying satisfaction and peace and love. The same way. The same way. How does God know that I am in anxiety? Because I am not peaceful. I am not relaxed. Do you hear those first two words in the statement? I am. I am peace. I am love. That's our identity. The great I am. Everything that flows behind those two words, I am, that is what you are. Because you are identifying by using those words, I am one with God. Here's another common denominator that Ernest Holmes shared with us. When we are involved in using these laws of life, we recognize that there is a principle. It is done unto you as you believe. It is done unto you as you believe. Now, I know that we talk about we're one with God. There's no argument with that. But what we must come to an understanding of is that we understand that our spiritual life, our inner nature, our inner self shows, or it's outpictured by what we see in our physical self's life. We know what we're thinking from inside by what is showing up on the outside. But here's the deal. There is a power in the universe that upholds everything. That same power, that same principle, that same presence is the infinite spirit of life that holds up your inner life. Your inner life, your inner self. It's back of it. So how do we follow? How do we follow spiritual wisdom? Reverend Hamlin teaches us all the time about our intuition. Paying attention to our intuition. If you're not ready to deal with the word per se, let's look at it this way. There is a guidance in the universe, and that guidance is available to you. And that spiritual guidance comes from your inner thoughts. It is what you hear in your inner mind. And you hear these thoughts, you hear these ideas. You can choose to use them or not choose them, but they're there. And people that we are aware of have identified that when I follow those inner thoughts, that inner guidance, I'm successful. When I don't, I kind of wish I had, because I didn't get what I want. But something happened that it told me I should do that. Carolyn Douglas, myself, actually had to have that proved to herself. Sometimes we're not too aware of how the inner guidance, how the intuition works, until you get sick and tired of not being successful. I used to run around looking for answers to what I wanted to do from other people, because I looked upon them as being really intelligent, knowledgeable, experienced. I looked upon them as being the wisdom for my life. And Spirit taught me, no, they're not the wisdom for your life. The wisdom for your life is within you. So once I got tired of not being successful because I was following somebody else's idea of what I should do instead of following the wisdom, the intuition that was coming to me. When I let go of that, I became much more successful. It was the intuition, the wisdom of spirit that told me, just as Moses was told, you need to leave this family here and go over yonder because you will do better. What that meant for me, I had to leave Memphis, Tennessee. I moved to Kentucky with my husband. And it was like, oh God, you really didn't mean this. And all kind of head broke loose and so forth, that I, instead of following the leading and wisdom of spirit, I decided to allow those wisdom folks in my family that I love to convince me to move back. I moved back to Memphis. Even though I had some great success there, I was so dissatisfied and so unsettled, and all of these beautiful opportunities kept coming through for me until finally I got the message, I've got to get out of here. This is not where I'm supposed to be. Let me give you another reason why I am so clear about that is why where I was not supposed to be. Spirit carried my memory all the way back to the days that I laid in my parents' bed, in their bedroom, and I had this dream where I was not living there. And for many, many years, I've always known that I would not live there. I would live elsewhere. I wasn't sure where elsewhere would be, but I knew that was not my home of living. It was my home of family, where my family lived. And when I got, oh, so it's okay. I can let go of being tied to my parents and my godmothers and my aunts and uncles, apron strings and whatever kind of strings they had. I could let go because I would be okay. And I had to accept that within myself. So, took the action. Spirit responds by way of action. Spirit working through me, Carolyn, had to take the action to change that and to make the move. Spirit responded to that. How does God know what I'm doing? In that I had to recognize my oneness with the infinite spirit of light. That no matter what step I took in responding to this intuition, of following the intuition, I was not alone. I would be okay because I was one with the infinite rhythm of life. I was one with the divine presence. So here it is, moving along from one place to the other, not knowing where I would end up at the time. It was a matter of just take a step. And taking a step and being involved in everything that happened with after I took a step led to another step that eventually led to me being where I am now in this state. It led to that. So sometimes we don't get the full picture of what it is. Sometimes after we've taken several steps and we take a step back ourselves and begin to look at what has occurred, then we get the idea of this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to do. Yes, I am on the path that is before me. I just edited my own thought. I was about to say I'm on the right path. I'm on the path that is for me, and I want to be careful about that because I don't know what the right path for you is. You know what is the right path for you, and we support one another in terms of being successful and supportive on the path that each one of us is on. What we all have in common, there's only one life, there's only one power, there's only one love, there's only one law, and that is God. And that very nature of the infinite spirit is within each and every one of us. Several years ago, Donald Cormier asked the question, how do I know if I am God-guided? Once again, it is that intuition of spirit that is within us that leads and guides us. Anytime we hear ourselves beginning to question what we're doing right now, we begin to ask ourselves, is this right for me? Why did that question pop into your mind?
Separation.
Separation. When you're asking that, is this what I should be doing? And then we begin to ask the question because we heard some wisdom teacher says, do you know what your purpose in life is? And we start running off on this tangent to find what my purpose is. Now this is, I love to tell people what to do. Most of our spiritual teachers do. But basically what we can share with you is knowledge, our experience. We can share wisdom. But you have the same ability to go into your quiet place, if you require a quiet place, and you can experience. What is my purpose? Why am I here? Why do I get up every day? What is the purpose of God in my life? I gave a talk to a group in which I asked them to really consider their why. Why do you exist? Why do you get up in the morning? What is it that stimulates you to do the things that you do? Especially when you will do it for free and it won't cost you anything. You're happy that you get paid, but why? What is your why? And it was very revealing because in that workshop, people started out with what they thought was their why. Oh, I'm here because this will make my relationship with my significant other strong, so this is why we're doing this. No, let's go into your personal why. And it was very nice to hear when I said, let's go within. Let's go within. Go within. And forget about your significant other. It's just you and the infinite one of life, the divine we, that unity, that individualized unit that has been incarnated with the divine. Find out what your why is. And to hear such simple whys as, I'm here to inspire. I'm here to support. I'm here to bless. Very simple things. And this is what Dr. Holmes teaches us, and this is what we've seen from some of our other great teachers, that our life is not to be complex. There is a simplicity to our life. It's our human consciousness that brings about the complexities because we're trying to get around the simple things of as it is done unto you as you believe. You know, it reminds me of when I was trying to give explanations for why I did something as a kid. And I saw that same thing repeat itself through my children when I asked, didn't I tell you not to do this? And I told you why you shouldn't do it, but they did it, and they had to explain why they did it anyhow. They were getting around it. And that is exactly what we do. But this day, we're able to utilize the spiritual wisdom of the Spirit within us to support all of our life. Number one, once again, we're one with God. And that helps us in everything that we do. The Spirit is not going to leave you on your own. It's impossible. Another thing that we can take from this is our job is to be aware of our own divinity. Therefore, as you recognize, I need not be concerned whether I'm seen, but rather, how do I see others? How do you see others when it comes to discernment, of spiritual wisdom, what they're doing. Therein, that understanding of what's happening is to come about. So those are the key things that I'm interested in sharing with you. What is wisdom? What is spiritual wisdom? How does it show up in our life? It's a very simple thing. We can cultivate wisdom. I love the teachings in the book of Proverbs on wisdom. I remember while I was in the church that I was raised in, I heard so much about Solomon being such a wise person that I kept saying, oh God, give me wisdom, give me wisdom. I just thank you for wisdom. And my teachers would say, oh, and don't forget to ask for understanding. And there too, I would say, oh, and give me understanding, give me understanding. And I'm thankful for those times because I'm really amazed at times when things fall out of my mouth and I get to a place where nobody is seeing me and I think, where did that come from? But you know, it all made sense. And it really came from the innermost part of myself, the spiritual self, being in connection with the divine. So how does God know what I'm doing? These are the key things that you have to remember. There is a creative agency in which the ideas that are the currency of the universe come to us. Thoughts come to us. We receive them. We declare what it is that we want to experience. Here is another thing. It doesn't matter how big or how small it is. God does not deal in big or small. God deals with what is it, the word, the idea that you're placing into the creative medium. What is it that you're looking to receive? And what comes forth is that idea in a manifested form. Here's an example of that. A person who has a business selling lemonade on the street, for instance, a child, and that person considers themselves a business person to do what they're doing, is using the same process that someone who builds large buildings. Both are businesses. They both have an idea of a business and for that business to work. Each one identifies, specifies what they would love to see. No one ever said, and I want it to be big. God doesn't deal in big. God doesn't deal in hard. God doesn't deal in small. God doesn't deal in easy. We're the ones who set that idea of what we want to receive. So that's how the creative agency, the creative medium, the creative law operates for all of us. The impersonal law of God as well as the personal law. It all works in harmony with that which we declare we would like to experience. So yes, God does know what you're doing because God is all that there is. And that is what I would like for you to take away from this. To know that infinite possibilities are available to you today. You can declare what you want. Let's do as Reverend Allen suggested last time. We have to let go of limited thoughts and limited thinking. And we have to help one another. When we forget, when we begin to say things that would be a limiting factor, let's remind each other, no, not that. Let's look at, we live in an abundant universe. We live in a universe that is replete with resources, and we're open to receive them and accept them as they come in. That's why it's important for us to do the education courses, to really learn how to work with the mind. We have to be taught. If you haven't been doing that, you have to be taught such that you cultivate the strength of your thinking muscle. So with that, I invite you now to let's just go within. Today, we give grateful thanks for the divine presence that is here right now. We give thanks for the knowing that there is only one life. That life is God. That life is perfect, whole, complete, and entire. That life is the infinite creator, and we being in it are part of that creation, and we are that creation. I accept for our spiritual center that it is replete with abundance. It matters not what others may see, think, or feel. What we think, see, and feel is the divine presence and power and peace and love and joy of the infinite spirit of life flowing easily and effortlessly through the body of our affairs. In that, we accept that there is abundance, there is love, there's joy, there is that expression and the feeling of plenty. We know that we are free to be who we have come here to be and to express as we know how to express. Not only do we speak this word for ourselves, we speak these words for those who are not here. We speak these words for those throughout this state, throughout this planet, that there is one power, one presence, one love, one life, one law, one God, and it is common to all of us. This is our belief. This is our faith. This is our knowing, and this is our experience. So in this day, we give grateful thanks for right living, for right doing, right being. We accept the wisdom of the spirit of life. We accept the intuition that comes through our being. We accept that as we follow this guidance of the divine from within, that we prosper from it. So in that, I affirm for us all, I am prosperous. I am loving. I am health. I am wholeness. I am contentment. I am peace. I am happy. I see with the eye of the all-seeing Spirit of God. I am that I am, and I am that within me now. And so with a grateful heart, I align myself with these spiritual principles of life. I align myself with this infinite good. And I release this word, and I let it go. And I invite us all to join in closing. And so it is.
And so it is.
So it is.